Hello and welcome to yet another great episode of Bahrain Now. I'm your host, Khalid Hijris, here to walk you through our exciting lineup of segments and personalities from around Bahrain. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Every country has its own most traditional and famous dishes. The Kingdom of Bahrain is a great destination to visit or travel, and to one of the main reasons for its allure is the mouth-watering cuisine. When you visit Bahrain, you have to live in an adventure of eating and tasting various local dishes. Pink Alien has distinguished itself as one of the leading food operators in Bahrain since 2019 by offering an unparalleled exploration for locals and tourists to discover the true essence of Bahraini culture and its very special traditional cuisine at the heart of the capital, Manama. And to talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here at the studio by the founder of Pink Alien, Mr. Youssef Bouhamwas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing.
You know, it's a real pleasure to have you here. The food of Bahrain is so unique and it's so varied, and I think we have a lot to offer, and we have a twist on everything and unique flavors. Yep. Now, to start us out, can you tell us a little bit of the idea behind organizing these tours and which foods and cultures are combined?
So, it goes beyond the plate. That's first of all. It is a food tour, but I think when you just present food to people, it's delicious, but it's even better if they understand what's the history and culture behind it. So in Bahrain, you cannot understand the Bahraini cuisine without understanding the history and the influence that we got from multiple cultures around us. This is what makes our island unique.
I think that's very beautifully said, and I really like that expression, beyond the plate as well, because food has a great way of bringing people together and a great way of expressing, what a culture has to offer, what flavors they like, even what ingredients you use are a reflection of the place that you're in. And now, can you tell us a little bit more about the mission and the main values behind this initiative?
So I like to kind of see the mission as I'm talking to the individual guest. And my mission with each individual guest is that I feed their bellies, but I also feed their minds with the knowledge about Bahrain. And when we move to the vision, I want to expand globally, so not just Bahrain. I want to open in, I would say, all continents around the world. And I think people get together through food. So that's what I want to do. Yeah, and the values part, basically, satisfy the guests. All guests, when they come, they need to be satisfied. But it's beyond the guest, because the guest could be a traveler or a tourist. You need to respect the culture where you're operating, in whatever city you are in. And also you need to make sure you give the community and the culture. So they're also feeling that you're welcomed, they welcome you. In Bahrain, I'm Bahraini, but if you want to expand internationally, you need to keep these things in mind.
Definitely, and I think that's very well said, and considering all of that, as well as how people forge bonds as well, can often be through food. And it's a great way to foster, there's a lot of all of that, the metaphor of, if you're at someone's table, you're speaking the same language, it brings everybody together. Yeah. And what better way to do that, even literally, than food? And now the tour is not just about food. We've touched on this, but the participants get to discover some historical and cultural aspects about the Kingdom of Bahrain itself. And can you tell us a little bit more about that? Maybe you have a specific example?
If you think where the heart of Bahrain is, to me personally, if you ask me, that would be Manama Souk. So that souk itself is full of stories, whether you talk to the vendors themselves or even the landmarks like Bab al-Bahrain. So Bab al-Bahrain, a lot of the expats or a lot of the tourists, they don't know the meaning of Bab al-Bahrain. It translates to the door of Bahrain. So what better way to get introduced to Bahrain by entering through Bahrain, the door of Bahrain. But for the purpose, a little bit different. Back then they used to enter Bahrain market or Manama Souk for pearls, spices, but this time they're entering for a food tour. Yeah.
Brilliant, and again, it's a very fitting metaphor, and it all fits together in a very in a very cohesive way. It's very community based as well. You know, it's like you said, like opening your doors to someone. You know, in quite a literal sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this regard. Now, I'm sure you've had a lot of feedback, and a lot of people have been more than happy to share their experience and how they felt about it. How has the feedback been so far?
So let me take you back and tell you the feedback before I start. So I did get a lot of feedback, not a lot, but a few feedbacks from people around me, like friends. They were asking, is it only food? Like you're just gonna feed people? And I said yes. And this exists actually outside. And the food tourism is one of the most growing and fastest growing in the world in the terms of tourism. And when I came to Bahrain in 2019, I saw that there's no food tour that is operating here. So I saw the opportunity and the need of it. And when we created the food tour, I can say now, happily, 100% of our customers, they're satisfied, whether through the reviews or the feedback they give us on spot. And they don't need to say something. Sometimes just when they eat, they're like, and you know, they're satisfied, you know?
Brilliant. And I mean, again, clearly you identified something, you know, very rich that Bahrain has to offer, and you've managed to share it to so many people. And I think that that's an incredible way to turn that opportunity into something you can share with a lot of people as well. Is there any specific dish that people seem to enjoy the most?
Mahyawa.
Really?
Of course, mahyawa. But the way I do it is, I don't tell them what's mahyawa. First I make sure that they don't have allergy. You always need to make sure of that. Once they say, no, I'm good, I don't have allergy, we bring it to them, they try it, and then they kind of guess. Nobody so far guessed it right. Obviously Bahrainis, we know, are people who live here. But when I tell them, they're like, wow. And they love it. Yeah.
It's a pleasant surprise.
I tell them it's the Bahraini pizza.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting way to compare the two. And it's actually really good to bring that up, actually. The fact that you've mentioned that you actually ask about the allergies, because it is something that we sometimes take for granted, right? Not everybody can eat the same thing. Some people have religious or dietary or, you know, allergen restrictions. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you take that stuff into consideration with a tour such as this?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I don't have any allergies, so I eat everything. So when you're in that situation, you don't really think about that. But when I got to understand food a little bit more and see the people around me when they have allergy, for example, sometimes from milk, sometimes from nuts, and it could be deadly. So you really need to be respectful and thoughtful of those people who are having allergies. And one way we do it is pre-booking, as people would book. They would inform you. We have questions to ask them about that. And usually if somebody has an allergy, they would do the initiative and tell you just ahead. So for example, yesterday I had a lady from Romania. She has slight allergy from garlic. So we just kind of like made sure there was no extra garlic in the food.
It's a difficult allergy to have.
Yeah, I mean, but she could eat a little bit, but not when it's too much.
Again, I mean, it's really heartwarming to see the fact that you guys take that into consideration.
We have to.
And you're holding yourselves and even your guests in high esteem and to high standards. So I mean, kudos to you for really taking that seriously.
Thanks.
Now I understand as well you have something of an initiative where it's like one meal, one donation. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. So this is something new that I thought of. Is I'm feeding a lot of people but they're obviously paying for it, right? And a way of me giving to the community is there are a lot of people in need, and I always wanted to think further, because when I expand beyond Bahrain, alhamdulillah, I would say the majority of people in Bahrain, they can't afford to have a plate on their table. But when you go abroad, for example, we operate in Bali as well, in Indonesia, and there are a lot of poor people there. So it's always good to give the community meals. It's the most basic thing, and people always appreciate a good meal.
Definitely, and again, kudos to you for doing that. I mean, that is an amazing way of giving back after everything you've accomplished. With something so essential and something that maybe many of us, we might take for granted. Now, just to go back to the beginning of all of this, what was your history like with food? I can tell you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Are you yourself, did you grow up around a lot of family members or friends who were very involved in the kitchen?
Yeah, my mom. She's known as in our family, she's the best in doing specifically sweets. So she always do sweets, and I remember I used to help her when I was young, and she would like give me one of the easiest ways of doing sweets. Put condensed milk, put biscuit, and I called her. I told her what's the name of this dish. She told me, how about we call it Yusuf sweet. So from that moment, I felt like, wow, see, there's a dish after me, you know. So it didn't really go anywhere. But also, I was when I was younger, I was overweight. Like I was obese for the age I was at 15. So I had to kind of develop a way of cooking healthy food. My mom's food was amazing and still is, but you kind of had to take that detour. And if anybody goes to the gym, they would know that sometimes you need to tell your grandma, wallah, you know. So I managed to cook my food. It was very blunt, like no taste in it, to be honest, but it got me where I wanted to go. And later on, as I grew older, I just didn't do anything about it. So when this opportunity came, I was like, food, we're meant to be together, you know? Yeah.
You know, I'm really happy to hear that you were able to make such a transformation as well, and you were able to do it in a very healthy way as well. And a huge shout out to your mom for being, you know, clearly a source of inspiration who
Absolutely.
has persevered up to this magnitude that you've managed to reach. So, you know, again, congratulations on everything.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you're not satisfied with what you just have right now. How are you hoping to transform this initiative going forward?
So we started in 2019. Luckily, I had a full-time job. I was working creative director in a company called Tanafas, and that gave me the opportunity to just survive, especially after COVID. A lot of people were hit, so especially in the industry of tourism and restaurants. So that was a part-time thing. But after having an amazing journey with Tanafas and the guys over there, in 2023, last year, I decided to give my full-time attention to the food tour. So I moved me and my wife to Bali, Indonesia, and we opened a food tour there. It's doing well, but not as good as Bahrain. I need to go back there and kind of get the ball rolling. And once I get that rolling as well, like Bahrain, it's just going to be expanding globally more and more and more. Maybe to the Gulf countries and then beyond, Europe, North America. I think the best tour guides are the people themselves who are from the place, so the Bahrainis. And I know when I travel abroad, I see a lot of tour guides. They're not full-time tour guides. When you ask them and talk to them, many of them are architects or doctors or lawyers. So even people here in Bahrain who are, let's say, older, even in the 50s, 60s, it doesn't matter. You know a lot of information. You've been in Bahrain. You ate all of the food that you will give the guests. So I would highly recommend people to kind of do this on the side as a part-time, because it would be an amazing opportunity for us Bahrainis to learn from the travelers that come, but also teach them about our culture.
Definitely. And again, it all goes back to that sense of community, because like, I think nothing brings people closer together than food. I mean, you brought up the earlier example of, you know, for example, you can't really say no to your grandmother when she's offering you like a second helping or a dessert you didn't ask for. It's a great way to connect with people. And like you said, you know, especially these days with like how the restaurant industry is, you get these very, I think safe might be the best way to describe it, kind of versions of dishes, losing kind of the authenticity of them. But then when you have someone, like you said, who knows the dish or who has prepared it themselves, I mean, you just get a lot more of an authentic experience.
Yeah, because think of it, like if you go to Suq Manama, for example, and you are an architect and you are a tour guide right now. So you are giving the history of the food, but you also know the history of the building. Maybe for me as Yusuf, I don't know the history of the building because I just didn't have the chance to get that information. But you as an architect, professional architect, you know that. So you could connect that, and now you even added an extra bonus to the guest. So it's a very fun thing to do, actually. You're just going out with friends and eating, it feels like, you know?
Precisely. You've managed to find a way to make, just hanging out basically. Like, it's just hanging out as an industry.
Yeah, just hanging out and eating.
Brilliant. Well, again, thank you so much again for your time. And really, I can't wait to see what you come up with next and hope to have you back again on the show.
Inshallah, Habibi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, a perfect blend of tourism and dining. Make sure that you always try out dishes both local and abroad in order to make sure you get the best of an experience. Stay tuned and we'll be right back with more on Bahrain Now. Bahraini athlete Ahmed Al-Mutawa recently made headlines by running an impressive 67.7 kilometers in just 6 hours, a feat that not only demonstrates his incredible endurance and willpower, but also casts a spotlight on the burgeoning talent among Bahraini athletes. And to speak more about this physical prowess and remarkable mental strength, we have Ahmed with us here in the studio. Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you. I mean, ya'atik al-afia, and great job on achieving what you have. It's something to aspire to, that's for sure. Now, can you tell us a little bit about where your passion in sports and for running started?
For sports specifically, I've always grown up playing sports. When I was younger, it was always football. You grow up around Bahrain, everyone's playing football. And I didn't really get into running until during the COVID pandemic because all gyms were closed. You couldn't go out and really play any sports with your friends. So I'm like, I need something to stay active. So I would just start running outdoors, and I would do 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers. And then as you start getting better and better and you do more distance, it's like it took over me and it became like my passion. This was like in 2020 and now we're in 2024 and went from running 3 kilometers to 67.7 kilometers in 4 years.
Yeah, that's quite the jump, but it's something to be proud of. And speaking of that, you recently ran the entire length of Bahrain. Can you tell us how long that took you?
Yeah, so just around 6 hours and 3 minutes, which is like...
Continuously running?
So I ran for about 62 kilometers and then my body failed me and I had to walk the last 5 kilometers basically. But yeah, just I didn't do any stops because I'm the type of person who I know, it sounds like, running for 6 hours, it's a long time, but I'm very impatient. So I wanted to get that 6 hours done as fast as possible. If you told me oh, can you do it in 5 hours and a half? I'd be like, yeah, that's better, like a couple of minutes off, I have more time to do whatever else I want to do. But yeah, that's how it went.
That's impressive, but I do have to say, I do understand the impatience being a motivator, but wow, that is incredible. Like you said, you went from doing 3 kilometers to managing to run, we're not going to discount the walking at the end, but to run for 6 hours. And now you took on such a huge challenge as well as many other athletic challenges that require quite a lot of training. So how do you prepare yourself, other than being impatient, how do you prepare yourself both mentally and physically for such an endeavor?
Physical preparations is the easy part. I do weight training, I run every day. That's just, it's become a routine. But it's really about preparing myself mentally and getting in the right mindset to know that, okay, you're about to go for a run for this long. And no matter what, you have to keep on going and, just do it. So that's just, I've developed that over running for so long, and it's nothing really you can talk about. I'm struggling right now to explain, I don't know if you're noticing, but it's just something that you develop over a long period of time of doing something. For me, it's running.
Hey, if it works, and I think you're doing a great job of explaining it, actually. Again, it's something that you clearly have put your mind to, and you're seeing it through completely. And it's great that here in Bahrain, actually, we have a lot of ways in order to, exercise and stay active. And we have support coming, from every level of government, and even on the royal level. So can you tell us a little bit how you value all of that support from the leadership of the Kingdom of Bahrain?
Yeah, it's truly really great to see, especially when someone achieves such a great achievement, you know, they, like recently the people who ran from Bahrain to Riyadh, you know, Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad, he welcomed them and he presented them with such great, like, you know, he really was very welcoming to them. And then you, across the whole level, you see that. So it's really inspiring, and you know, hopefully I get the chance to meet them one day, and you know, they can welcome me as well.
Inshallah.
But yeah, in general, the whole local community have been really supportive, and people I don't even know, they're messaging me, and you know, they're giving me such positive messages, and I haven't received like a single negative message, which is just like, it's crazy to me. Because if you if you imagine like doing something in public, people will be like, this guy didn't actually do that, or like, oh, he's just lying or whatever. But no, I didn't get any of that. Everyone's just being so supportive, and you know, I'm really appreciative for that.
I think once you've managed to run for 6 hours, I don't think anybody can say anything negative to you. That accomplishment in and of itself dispels any potential negative feedback. But I am very happy to hear that, and you know, it is great to see that this is something that you can share with other people and is fostering a sense of community, that people are reaching out. And now you've participated in events both nationally and internationally. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with these events?
So yeah, I've been in 5 races in total. 1 half marathon that I did in last year in January, and then 4 full marathons that I've done. My first one was in Bahrain in February 2023, and then I did another one in Venice, Italy in October 2023, and then this year I've done one in Dubai to start the year in January, and my 4th one was in Bahrain. It's what happens after that made this Bahrain marathon so special. With the other marathons, you know, I would travel internationally, and you know, especially Venice, like you're looking at like canals, and you're like running through like these different like forests and stuff. So it's really cool. But by the end, I'm celebrating by myself. You know, I don't really have like that sense of community or whatever. After the Bahrain marathon, so many people that like they just heard of me that day. They were so happy. They were like, a Bahraini person, you know, did this, and like, you know, because I performed really well. I finished 3rd overall, so like a lot of people were really happy for me. And these are people I didn't even know, and like I met on the day, and they were so supportive. So it was just that sense of community and support which made me feel so special and made that day so special.
A lot of people, I'm speaking mostly for myself. I mean, I would look at someone running and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's an amazing accomplishment. You don't actually think about the feelings that go into it, because you're kind of thinking, well, at the end of that, the only thing they're going to be feeling is exhausted. And well, I mean, it still sounds pretty exhausting, but also pretty rewarding as well in many ways. Now I want to ask you, was there a specific time where you made a victory that really surprised yourself, where you felt, I didn't think I could accomplish that, but I'm really glad that I did?
Every time, every
race.
Every race. So like my first half marathon, I finished in 1 hour and 45 minutes. And going into it, I was like, okay, if I finish in 2 hours, that'll be fine. My first full marathon in Bahrain, like going into it, I was like, what if I don't finish? You know, I never ran that full that distance. So when I finished it, and then I also finished 3rd overall, third in my age group, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then with Venice, I thought, okay, I can do maybe 3 hours and 30. I did 3 hours and 19 minutes. Dubai, I got 3 hours and 35 seconds. And so each time it was just like, I'm surprising myself with how well I'm doing, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And then also in Bahrain, I got sub 3 hours for the first time. So it was just like, how am I doing this? How do I keep on getting better? And it's just so, it's unexplainable. It's an amazing feeling.
It's really cool to see as well how passionate you are about it, and you know, it's clearly something that means a lot to you, and something that you've really managed to develop in such an incredible way. With stuff like this, I always think, you know, obviously the simple and maybe the best answer is that the best way that you get better is to keep practicing. What kind of helps you keep going, even when the practice gets too tough, or on days where you feel like you're struggling? What really pushes you forward?
Mindset, and just it's what I'm passionate about. This also might sound a bit extreme, but a saying that I like to say, like I like to think about, that really helps me is you can feel the pain after, but not during. So if I'm like running for like 2 hours and I'm like the finish line's almost there, and I want to slow down, I'm like, no, not now, because right now you have your mission, you have your goal, you have to finish that, and then after you can cry on the couch, you know, because your legs hurt or whatever. But like while you're doing it, you're gonna finish it, you're gonna do the best you can, and then suffer.
I think that's very sage advice. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people, you know, there's a community reaching out to you. You said you've gotten like a lot of good feedback, and I have no doubt that there are people who are going to want to follow your example, right? What message would you give to those people?
I have to give them 2 messages, because I want everyone to go, you know, chase their dreams. I want everyone to try their best to be successful. So yeah, first of all, go for it. Because a lot of the times we're going to be our own worst enemies, and we're going to try to hold ourselves back. But at the same time, we have to understand that those limits are there. You don't want to push your body and push your mental self to a point where you're going to really hurt yourself. So yeah, go for it, but like try to understand that you have to be careful as well.
Clearly speaking from experience.
Yeah.
No, that's great, because like it is good to know what you're capable of, but also know when to take care of yourself. And now, before we conclude, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
So yeah, I just hope everyone enjoyed today. Go follow my Instagram account, Running with Ahmed. And I just want to give a huge shout out to all my friends, specifically the lads and the bros and the Discord group. But yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I really, really enjoyed this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found that talk as inspiring as I did, and I hope that it encourages you to stay fit or to follow your dreams. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more on Bahrain Now. In a trip of creativity, activity, and service, the students of Al Rawabi Private School visited Koh Kert village in Thailand with noble goals and innovative projects. Their trip did not only illuminate the village using sustainable solar power, but also help them to explore and exchange aspects of culture and social knowledge. To talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined by the students themselves, Rada Mu'allif, Mohammed Al-Wasti, Dana Al-Qaid, and Reem Ma'ayouf. Welcome, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing well, thank you.
It's a real pleasure to have you guys. Now, I'm going to start off with you, Donna, and I'd like to ask you, what can you tell us about like how the idea of this trip started?
Okay, since we're lucky enough, our school, Arabi School, offers CAS to both IB and non-IB students. So you get the chance to participate in activities, you get to meet new people and be creative. So this idea, actually, the CAS trip started last year. We went to a trip to Oman, but this year we wanted to do something different, because last year we went hiking only. Instead of doing an activity project, we did a service project. So we decided that Koh Kert village in Thailand is like our best option, and it matches with the things that we want to do there.
I mean, it's brilliant. You guys managed to find a way not only to explore a different culture, but also to be of service to people, and I'm sure enjoy yourselves at the same time.
Yes, we did.
Now, what did the preparations of that trip entail?
We were so prepared at school, the teachers and everyone, they helped us prepare, especially our coordinator, Miss Zahra Ismail. She made us stay after school to have some just sessions so she can guide us with the do's and don'ts, what we're supposed to do there. She introduced us to the village people, and we also got to meet the team, our friends, and that was actually a great thing because we became closer before we even traveled. And our school gave us this amazing opportunity to design the shirts ourselves. So we really had so much fun, and we wanted to make the shirts so we can represent our school in the village. So it was amazing, it was fun, it was chaotic, it was the best.
It's really good to see as well that you guys were able to be involved on multiple different levels. Like, I mean, even the t-shirts and everything. I feel like that's a great way to really get you guys invested and to also really show that it's all in your hands, this opportunity. And now I'd also like to ask you why you specifically chose Koh Kert.
So we chose Kokerd because at first we wanted to choose a place, like a village, that really needed some attention, recognition, because there are some people out there that aren't really not privileged enough to have the necessities that they need. And we thought as a group that we would go there and help them by installing solar lights all around the village, so kids and people, villagers, can walk out at night feeling safe. They have some lights, and we know that this is something that they will benefit from for the next few years. This is going to make a big impact, and that's what we wanted for them.
Brilliant. And I mean, again, it's good to see that this is something that clearly you've made an impact while probably also had an impact made upon you. So, I mean, it's really great to see that you guys took the initiative to do something that is not only fun, but also brings something to the table for a community that you've probably never really interacted with before. Now, Mohammed, I'd like to move on to you. Like, what can you tell us about the project? Like, what made you guys decide to do like solar energy?
Okay, so our project main aim is to provide a sustainable lighting solutions to Kokerd village through the use of solar panels. We recognize that the importance of finding an eco-friendly alternative to traditional lighting systems that heavily rely on non-renewable energy sources. Especially that one of our school values is environmental awareness. We wanted to offer a more eco-friendly approach, minimizing the negative impacts and effectively lighting up the Kokerd village. So actually, this is not just a simple or useless sustainable project. It also serves the community of Kokerd, and that was our aim from the beginning.
Brilliant. And you guys have clearly communicated that that goal of sustainability, that value really well. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about, like, for example, like, where were the main areas that this lighting project was implemented?
So when we have arrived, we were not expecting that much, that it is a large village. It was filled with farms. So we were divided into 3 teams. Each team is assigned into a specific area. These areas included the homestay, riverside, and the public spaces. So each team was responsible for implementing a specific amount of solar lights in these areas, so with the aim of lighting up the whole village in a sustainable manner. The way the Thai people were supporting us in this village, it was really amazing, and it was a changing point for us.
Brilliant. And I can imagine with such an achievement such as this, right? You probably faced quite a few challenges as well. That just kind of comes with the territory. So, I mean, what were some of the challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Actually, we have faced a lot of challenges, and we were not expecting to handle all of these challenges perfectly. Like, we had to repeat the process of digging again and again in different places. Why? Because we needed to ensure that there are no pipes or anything that interfere with our work. Also, one of the challenges is the communication barrier between us, the students, and the Thai locals, where we have struggled the most to talk and communicate with the Thai locals while we were working. However, despite all of these challenges, we have tried our best to overcome all of these obstacles through our communication and collaboration and teamwork, where we have improved and learned to live with it day by day.
Brilliant. And, you know, the best thing about teamwork is that, you know, especially when you have a common goal, I feel like you can kind of overcome any challenge. You'll find innovative ways to overcome them.
I totally agree with you.
Brilliant. And now I'd like to ask you, Reem, what can you tell us about the reaction and the feedback that you got from the villagers themselves?
It was honestly so positive. People there were so helpful. They saw our struggles, they saw our achievements, and how tiring the work was. But in the end, their reaction and the community and people in the village, their faces, is what made all the hard work worth.
And what can you say about, like, exploring the Thai culture? Is there anything that you learned or anything that that particularly, like, resonated with you?
The whole thing was mainly focusing on the service aspect, but it had a big part in the immersing ourselves with the Thai culture, which included activities like cooking with the community and exploring, like, temples. There are many similarities that we actually found between us despite the differences that may not be obvious. Like one of these similarities may be the attachment of their community. Us people, we are so attached to our community and to our family. And throughout this trip, we realized that Thai people are the same as well, or mainly the community that we worked with.
I mean, you'll find, I mean, no matter where you go, I mean, people are essentially all the same, even if we have a lot of differences. When you really look to the heart of it, we actually have a lot more in common than we do, like, different. Now, you guys have also mentioned, and building on that theme, actually, of community and people being close, not only did you guys have each other in your teams, you've had also the support of the staff, and I'm sure that as well, like, the school has invested a lot in you guys. How do you value the support given by both, like, the academic and the administrative staff?
I want to start this with saying this whole trip would not have been possible without our CAS coordinator, Ms. Zahra Ismail, and our supervisors, Mr. Ali Abdul Jalil, Ms. Khadija Al-Wada'i, and Mr. Ali Marhoun. They were there for us in our emergencies, time we needed, and made sure that we make the most out of this trip. And this trip also gave us an opportunity to get closer to them, which made us feel that like they are more than family to us.
You know, it's always really promising with stuff like this when you really look at, like, you guys have achieved so much. And, you know, especially bringing lights, like even using something sustainable to co-curd. But not only have you managed to basically give them something to grow on based off of that, you've also given something to grow between each other and within yourselves as well in the form of community. Now, Rutha, can you tell us a little bit about how the trip kind of developed your teamwork and leadership skills?
As Wasli also mentioned, we were divided into groups, and each group had their own leader. Since I was the leader of that group, I was tasked to take care of my team by giving the instructions we needed. Although there are many different stuff that we had to accomplish together, this also improved our teamwork with each other. Although being the leader, it doesn't mean that my team are not neglected. Every one of us had our own responsibilities, which made each one of us our own leader, that this is our own project.
I mean, I think that that's a skill valuable to learn wherever you are in life, that leadership is not just about, you know, for kind of going off and doing your own thing. I mean, the way that you've described it is perfect, that everyone kind of has their own responsibilities and they all kind of fit together in order to make like the larger picture. And if you had the chance to go on the same trip again, given everything you've experienced, what would you add or what would you change?
This trip was something else. Like the way the Thai culture, Thailand was, it was definitely a great experience. The time that we've spent there was not enough. We couldn't keep up with it. Like the culture was totally, we were really immersed in it. The way we interacted with the people there, the way we tried the new activities in there. It was such an amazing experience. And definitely, if I'm gonna add something, a few more days.
I should have expected that answer. I think that all of you would agree with that one, wouldn't you?
Wasn't enough at all.
I mean, again, that just shows how you know valuable this experience was to all of you. And on that note, I mean, what would your advice be for a student looking to get involved with a similar trip?
Definitely, this trip was something else. Like the way you look back at the memories, it's something, it's happiness, pure memories that you're gonna face when you grow older and look back at it. Like when I grow, this trip was something else. This is something that I'm never gonna experience again with the school. Like the way the personality changes when you encounter different hardships and getting out of your comfort zone, it's truly, really amazing. The way that you don't know how your personality, you're gonna adjust to it, the way you improve. It's something that a person's capacities will grow to the max.
It's really encouraging to see the mark left behind by this trip, and also the mark that you guys left behind. What you did was no small feat, and the fact that you all came together to accomplish something for people in need is just very inspiring. And on that note, I just want to ask you guys, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
I just want to add to Rada's point, because there are so many people that let these kind of things go because they're too shy or they feel inferior or, oh no, I can't do it because I don't have friends. But one day you're going to grow up and you're going to regret it so much. So if you have the chance, just take it, just go for it. Don't ever hold yourself back or like try to limit yourself based on what you think people would think of you. Just do it, you know? Don't think about it.
I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. Genuinely, I'm in awe of what you've achieved, and clearly there is a lot of cohesion between you guys, and clearly this trip has left a great impression on you guys, and I can't wait to see what you all do going forward in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Bahraini students getting involved and showing the rest of the world what they're capable of, especially under the leadership of their teachers and beyond. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back on Bahrain Now with more. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's going on beyond the studio in the following report.
The new Formula One season flagged off in Bahrain International Circuit, which celebrated the kingdom's 20th anniversary in motorsport's top flights. This historic milestone was highlighted in a race weekend filled with incredible action and entertainment, showcasing 20 years of a modern classic between Thursday to Saturday, the 29th February to the 2nd of March at the F1 Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2024. Fantastic plans for the highly anticipated motorsport and entertainment spectacle included a campaign commemorating 20 years of a modern classic, 3 days of non-stop racing, and loads of family fun and entertainment.
It's on another scale. Yeah, the last time I came was probably 10 years ago. I was a teenager back then, and it was a lot of fun then, and now coming back as an adult and seeing how much it's grown and all of the exciting things going on, and we're looking forward to the concerts later as well.
Luckily I have some very good tour guides who have lived in Bahrain before, but it's a very special place, and yeah, really enjoying it.
The difference I can see is more things for to play the kids, for to play the teenager, and this is amazing this year for the ministry. It's more nice.
First time at F1 event, so really great to just see the pageantry of the whole thing, how incredible race day is. I've never seen anything like this before with all the stuff going on, so excited to be in Bahrain, excited to see my first F1 race.
There's a lot of organisation here, a lot of staff working here, different people going on. It's great. This bit's well organised, and hopefully everybody stays safe during the race, and we have a good time.
We're thankful for everyone that prepared this event for us, and we all were able to have such a fun time, and we're very thankful for that. So thank you to everyone who put an effort to making this F1 as amazing as it is.
It's really nice and organized, and it's laid out very nice so that everything is close and easy to access.
The police guys are helping, and just overall, because we're in Bahrain, it's a lot safer than every other country, alhamdulillah. So we feel safe here, and we're able to come here without our parents even.
Organization, everything has been really good, so shout out to all the staff out there that have made this possible and everything.
I love Bahrain so much. She's my best Bahrain ever I see.
The race saw an unprecedented number of audience and motorsports enthusiasts. This year's F1 Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix followed a modified schedule. Racing is scheduled to begin on Thursday rather than Friday, and then the main event will be held on the first time ever on Saturday night, making for an additional spectacle to an already extra special occasion.
This brings us to the end of today's episode. As always, be sure to reach out to us on our social media accounts shown below. We love to hear from you. This is Khalid Idris, and until next time, good night and God bless.